So this is my presentation on the history of polearms. I am not going to pronounce this word because I'm going to butcher it. Brutally butcher it. Um, so hopefully this is interesting enough. Our ancestors used the spear primarily for hunting and fishing. The, the head was normally made out of some form of sharpened stone, shaft, and the flint, obsidian, bronze. It was either in the shape of a leaf or a triangle. Um, the Greeks started using it, which later it became used for war. And their spears was um, resembled from the Masayan tribesmen of Africa, and the Greeks used it to for unison and defense more than anything. The Romans used the heavy javelin, which was a distinctive weapon of the Roman legion, where it was meant to be thrown to render enemy forces before clashing with them in hand to hand. Um, there was several types of the pila. You had the hasta pila, which was um, one form is the hasta pura, which is a form of um, like metal or a ceremony, and then you had the hasta whatever that word is, because I'll butcher it also, which was used for training. Um, you then got pikes. Pikes are a pole arm, roughly. I think they were around 18th century. They were wielded by foot soldiers. Um, these pikes were first, I think, invented in Sweden or Switzerland. Switzerland is what it is. Switzerland, which you have here, where they are using halberds in the Swiss Royal Army. I think these guys are guards. Um, and so here you had the halberd, um, which was a lot bigger than the pike. You got the glaives. Glaives, um, they roughly 45 centimeters, 18 inches long. Um, they were used for um, stopping like cavalry and stuff like that. Um, the bear spear was a medieval type of spear used for mainly hunting bears, but I think around the 11th or the 12th century, it was incorporated into Europe's military, and it was the forefront use of spearmen. The Danish axe is a pole arm um, with the head of the axe having what they called beards or points or horns used for slashing and laceration and removing shields. Then you have the konatos. They were used, I think, by Macedon. Um, Mainly, it was a massive lance. It was meant to be used with both hands on the back of a horse, and you controlled the horse with your knees, which required some extreme talent. Then you got the lance. That was a polearm used by cavalry during the European era. I think that was like 11th and 12th century. Um, Used to dismain archers and infantrymen. Then you have the Lotjenberd axe, which was first recorded in I think the 15th century. It was used by Scots. It was also a form of a polearm meant to pull men off their horses or dismount knights, um, disrupt pikemen. You have the Gurasamai, which was roughly used for the same thing, um, only except it was a lot nastier. It was actually petitioned to be removed from the battlefield, um, which never happened. The Scots used it against the English. I think the Irish used it against the English. You have the Sputoon. The Sputoon is a half pike. It's more of ceremonial tool than really used for war. I think the Italians used it in the 17th century. So you got the quarterstaff. Um, the quarterstaff is a short staff or simply a staff with two small pikes on the end of it, used for basically fencing. Um, I don't think it was ever used in fighting. You have the sword staff. The sword staff was mainly produced in Scandinavia as a polearm. You started seeing more of it around the 15th century when the Swedes would carry good pikes made from swords into battle. You have the Korasakik, which is roughly a awkward trident. It was designed to knock men off their horses. Um, it could pierce shields. It had a lot of uses. It was a relatively nasty piece of war. Then you got the septum. The septum is a large pole arm, roughly 6 to 8 feet long. On it, which is mounted a spearhead with two projections at its base. Um, it is roughly used for the same thing, um, except for it could fold.